In Earth's early oceans, the first multicellular animals lived without anything like a heart. Their bodies stayed thin or simple because oxygen and nutrients had to seep slowly from the outside in. Diffusion did the work, but only over tiny distances. To help it along, these animals relied on movement, bending, contracting, and shifting their tissues, stirring the fluid inside them like a gentle tide. That system worked until bodies started asking for more. More cells meant more demand, and diffusion alone fell behind. The problem was basic. Without a way to deliver supplies, inner tissues got less and less. So evolution leaned on a new idea: structures that squeezed on purpose. Simple tubes and vessels began to contract in sequence, not randomly, pushing internal fluid forward. These peristaltic waves turned body fluid into something closer to a circulating stream. Instead of waiting for oxygen to wander inward, the animal moved it. Each squeeze created a small pressure change, and repeated squeezes produced flow through a primitive network of channels. It still was not a true heart, not yet, but it was active transport. A slow pump had arrived. As bilaterian animals grew larger and started moving with purpose, a simple squeezing tube no longer kept up. More cells sat farther from the surface, and delivery had to reach deeper tissues on time. So circulatory layouts diversified. Some animals kept blood inside vessels, a closed system that directed flow exactly where it was needed. Others let blood bathe organs more freely in open spaces, trading precision for simplicity. This split was not just about plumbing, it shaped what these bodies could do. A closed system supported faster, more targeted delivery, which helped animals stay active for longer without fading. An open system worked well for slower lives, where pressure did not have to stay high. But either way, one problem stayed stubborn. When the whole body wall squeezed in waves, fluid surged forward, then slipped back again. A new solution emerged: a dedicated pumping region, more centralized and stronger than the rest of the vessel. Instead of a traveling ripple, this area beat in place and pushed fluid into a main route. That changed everything. Flow became mostly one way, not a tug of war. With direction came reliability, and with reliability came scale. Larger bodies could now feed their muscles, keep their organs supplied, and remain active without stalling. In early chordates, the old pumping region stopped being just a stronger squeeze and started becoming a true heart. Blood had farther to travel, and the body demanded more force behind every push, so the pump changed shape and behavior. It gathered its work into a tighter center. Pressure rose, and once pressure rose, direction mattered more than ever, because any slip backward wasted the whole effort. That problem drove a simple but powerful invention: valves. These flaps opened when blood moved the right way, then shut when it tried to fall back. One movement, one direction. With backflow blocked, the heart finally kept what it gained. The circulation became less like water sloshing in a tube and more like a planned delivery route. The same beat now moved more blood, farther, with less loss. Then the pump split its job into two steps. An upper chamber, the atrium, collected returning blood and primed the next push. Below it, a ventricle delivered the main udar, squeezing hard enough to drive higher pressure through the network. The timing mattered. Fill first, then fire. This two-stage design smoothed flow, reduced strain, and made each contraction count. It was the first vertebrate-like heartbeat with real power. As fishes rose and took over the water, their hearts settled into a simpler plan that fit life with gills. Blood left the heart and went to the gills first. Only after it picked up oxygen did it travel on to the rest of the body. It formed one continuous loop, not two. In water, that order mattered. Oxygen had to be collected where it existed. This single circuit changed what the heart had to do. It pushed blood hard enough to reach the gills, then the pressure dropped after passing through those thin, delicate sheets. That drop kept the gills safe, but it also meant the body received a gentler flow. So the fish heart became a steady workhorse, built for constant pumping rather than sudden bursts. The gills became the main checkpoint. And a new structure appeared at the exit of the heart, a specialized outflow tract, like the conus or bulbous arteriosus. It acted like a pressure cushion. Each heartbeat arrived as a pulse, but this chamber stretched and released, smoothing the surge into a steadier stream. That protection mattered. Without it, fragile vessels in the gills and beyond would have taken the full udder of every beat. The first tetrapods had carried a fish-style circulation onto land, and it immediately strained. In water, gills had done the work, and a single loop had been enough. On land, lungs took over, and air offered more oxygen, but only if blood reached it the right way. Gravity also started to matter. Blood no longer drifted easily through a buoyant body. The heart faced a new job. With lungs now supplying oxygen, the old single circuit forced an awkward compromise. Blood left the heart, passed through the lungs, then pushed on to the body, already losing pressure along the way. That made strong delivery to muscles harder, just when walking demanded more effort than swimming. And inside the heart, oxygen-poor blood returning from the body met oxygen-rich blood from the lungs. Mixing happened. Performance dropped. So the heart began to sort its traffic. The atrium, once a single receiving space, became partly divided, guiding blood into separate streams. One stream came back from the lungs with fresh oxygen. The other returned from the body carrying waste gases. The ventricles still did some mixing, but less than before. This early double circulation let lung blood cycle back to the heart quickly, while body blood kept its own route. Oxygen delivery rose, land became livable. Reptiles pushed the land experiment further, and their hearts showed it. Some still carried a single ventricle with only a partial wall inside, while others developed partitions that nearly split the heart in two. That extra structure mattered. It reduced unwanted mixing and let more oxygen reach muscles for longer stretches of effort. With that, reptiles did not just survive on land, they expanded into new ways of living. But reptiles also kept a strange advantage. They did not lock themselves into one pattern of blood flow. Inside the heart and great vessels, controllable shortcuts appeared, called shunts. These routes redirected blood away from the lungs and back to the body, or sent more through the lungs when oxygen demand rose. The circulation acted less like fixed plumbing and more like a switchable system, adjusted moment by moment. That flexibility paid off in real situations. During diving, a reptile could reduce lung flow and save oxygen for the brain and heart while it stayed underwater. After a big meal, it could shift circulation to support digestion without collapsing overall pressure. And in changing temperatures, it could alter how much warm blood reached the body versus the lungs, helping control heat gain and loss. The heart became not just stronger, but smarter in its options. Some lineages pushed past the limits of a partly divided heart. Birds and mammals demanded more because their bodies burned fuel fast and often, not in short bursts. That kind of life punished every shortcut. If oxygen-poor blood slipped back into the stream, muscles tired sooner and heat production fell. So the internal walls of the heart finished the job. Separation stopped being optional. It became the rule. The decisive change came as a full split into 4 chambers, 2 atria above, 2 ventricles below. One side handled blood returning from the body, low in oxygen. The other handled blood fresh from the lungs, rich in oxygen. The streams no longer mixed. Each circuit ran on its own track, with its own pressure. The body received a strong, clean supply, and the lungs avoided dangerous force. This new layout unlocked endurance. With oxygen delivery kept pure and pressure kept high, muscles kept working without crashing into an early limit. Activity lasted longer, recovery came faster, and temperature stayed steadier because fuel could be burned continuously. It also created a reliable platform for bigger brains, faster movement, and longer daily ranges. The heart stopped acting like a compromise. It became a high-performance pump. Early mammals faced a new rule. Warmth had to stay constant. They no longer waited for the sun or the shade to set their pace. Heat came from within all the time, and that demanded fuel and oxygen on demand. The four-chambered heart met that pressure by keeping the blood streams fully separate. So every beat delivered the richest oxygen straight to working muscles and to the organs that kept the inner fire burning. But anatomy alone did not solve the problem. Life shifted minute by minute. A mammal had to run, then stop, then eat, then sleep, without its pressure crashing or spiking. So tighter control systems took charge. Nerves that worked automatically sped the heart or slowed it without any decision being made. At the same time, small muscles in vessel walls tightened or relaxed, steering blood toward what needed it most. During a sprint, vessels to the gut narrowed while vessels to muscle opened, and pressure stayed firm even as demand soared. During feeding, the pattern reversed and blood moved to the digestive tract without starving the brain. During sleep, the heart eased back, yet pressure still stayed high enough to supply every cell. This constant, invisible steering turned the four-chambered heart into a stable engine, ready for steady activity in a changing world. When primates appeared, their lives started to depend on long hours of movement, careful hands, and constant attention. Then some of their descendants walked upright. Bipedalism changed the rules fast. Blood had to travel farther against gravity to reach the brain, and it had to return from the legs without pooling. The heart still beat the same way, but the job became less forgiving. Small failures now meant dizziness, weakness, collapse. At the same time, brains grew. A bigger brain demanded a steady, high-quality blood supply every minute, not just during effort. And childhood stretched out. Young humans stayed dependent for years, while their brains wired themselves for language, planning, and social life. That long build-up cost energy, and it required stability. The heart supported not only bursts of action, but day after day of reliable pressure and flow through sleep, learning, and growth. Then reproduction raised the stakes again. Large-brained babies needed long pregnancies, and pregnancy forced the cardiovascular system to remodel itself on purpose. Blood volume expanded, sometimes by nearly half, and the heart increased its output to feed the placenta and protect the mother's own organs. Vessels relaxed, resistance shifted, and the heart adapted without failing. This flexible upgrade made prolonged gestation possible, and it helped bring vulnerable, energy-hungry newborns into the world. In the modern human body, that four-chambered heart carried people through decades, not just years. It tolerated pregnancies, recoveries, and ordinary stress repeated thousands of times. It also supported extremes, marathons, mountain climbs, long-distance swimming. The same design that once served short, risky lives now kept blood moving for a lifetime. But longevity brought a new problem. More years meant more chances for the system to wear down. The environment changed faster than the heart ever did. Food became dense and constant. Work became still. Tobacco smoke and chronic stress added their own pressure. Over time, vessels stiffened, fat and inflammation narrowed arteries, and high blood pressure asked the heart to push harder every day. The pump adapted at first, then it thickened, weakened, or slipped into irregular rhythms. In this world, failure often arrived slowly, not suddenly. Medicine then stepped in and rewrote the odds. Drugs lowered pressure, thinned clots, and controlled rhythm. Surgeons bypassed blocked routes, and stents held arteries open from the inside. When muscle died, transplants replaced the whole organ. When no donor came, mechanical pumps and artificial hearts kept blood moving anyway. The support looked engineered and complex, yet it existed to protect something simple, a fragile pump still doing the same job it started with.